Hey everyone, welcome back to Roulette Fever. Today I'm back with a single dozen strategy. I know that many of you feel really uncomfortable playing with a single dozen strategy, but you can't deny that it has its own charm and perks. Okay, as I know that single dozen strategies are risky a bit, so even though it's an outside bet, so I have a progression for it and we are gonna bet in a certain way. Okay. I will explain as we go along. I'm going to start with $1, okay, and we're going to target 20 per session because I'm starting with $1, okay. You can readjust that according to your initial bid. So what you are going to do here is that we have already done videos on the strategy of winning the following the winner, or following the last two winners or everything like that. So this time what we're going to do is that we are gonna find the dozen that didn't hit for the last two rounds, okay? And the progression that I'm gonna follow is a safe one to begin with, but as it goes along, it becomes a bit aggressive, okay? That's why I'm starting slow. And I have cut off this progression really from what I can say from the middle so that you don't have to take the later part because then it becomes more aggressive. So you can either use the end of this progression as your stop loss, or you can have your own predetermined stop loss to begin with. Okay. So okay, we are gonna start playing. So what you're gonna look for is that the dozen that didn't come in the last two rounds, or if you find dozens of the same dozen in the last two rounds, you're gonna look for the third number or fourth number. So here, as you can see that we see third and second dozen in the last few numbers. So we're gonna bet on the first dozen, okay, with $1, and the spin. As I'm saying that this progression is a safe one to begin with, but later on it becomes really aggressive, and that's why I've cut it short. I'm not gonna utilize the entire progression, even though when I was using it on demo, I didn't need to use this half of the progression even, the cutoff progression that I'm displaying in front of you. I didn't need to use the entire of it anyway. So I hope that this is gonna be a good one. Okay, we have started with a loss. We are not gonna increase our bet size, okay? We're gonna bet on that same dozen. So let's spin. For the first two rounds, we are not increasing our bet size. Okay, we have another loss. So we are gonna remain on the first dozen. This time we're gonna bet with $2. The payout can be really good when you play with a single dozen, but it has its own risk and its own perks. As I said, the next one is going to be $3. We're not going to change our dozens until we win, or if you follow the system, that's how it should be anyway. Next one is going to be $4, but it's not always like this. Okay, it gets really aggressive later on. Okay, we have a win. So this progression is built in a way that anytime you win, you find yourself mostly, with a new session high or at par with the previous session high or anything like that. So yeah. So now again we're gonna look for the dozen that didn't come in the last two rounds. In this case, as you can see, that the third dozen it should be our betting one. We're gonna bet on the third dozen this time, and we'll be back on our base bet. Okay. We'll be back to our base bet, and yeah, let's spin. Okay, we have another win. Now, when you face back-to-back win while playing with a single dozen, it's gonna give you really quick growth. Okay, but don't get carried away because you know the risks that are involved while playing with a single dozen. Okay, that's why I have that progression and I've cut it short. I'm not gonna utilize the entire progression anyway. Okay, so we have the third and the first dozen in the last two rounds. So we are gonna bet on the second dozen with $1. and I'm targeting only 20 because I'm as playing with only $1 as my initial bet. Okay, now we have lost, so we are not going to increase our bet size just after a single loss. Okay, we face another loss. Now we are going to increase it to $2. Okay, now we're going to bet with $3. Think we have a win. Okay. Now, as I was saying that you will mostly find yourself with a new session high, anytime you win in the progression. Okay, we'll be back to our base bet, and this time we're gonna bet on the third dozen. We're just following that system. So yeah, let's spin. Okay. If you are choosing to play with a single dozen, that means that you know about its pros and cons. Okay. So don't panic if you face back-to-back 2-3 losses, because that can happen when you play with a single dozen. But if you follow the progression properly, and if you play with a strict stop loss, you will get good results and you will have a win. And our chip counts are increasing, as you can see. And our next bet is gonna be on the first dozen in this case, according to the system. So we have another win. Great. Next bet is gonna be on the second dozen. Let's win. The actual progression, in the strategy that I'd come up with was really a lengthy one. And in that way, maybe your entire bankroll could have been put into use. So that's why I thought let's cut this progression to the middle, and I'm going to show you only the first half of it. And I don't recommend you to play with the entire progression, the second half of it. That's why I'm not going to even show it to you. To a certain point, we are going to use the progression, and even after that, if we don't find our winning dozen, so we are going to call it off. Okay. But anyway, while I was using it on demo, I didn't even need to use the half of it anyway. Okay, so we have another win. We're up by 11 already. We have some back-to-back. We have had some back-to-back wins. Great. So in this case, we're going to bet on the third dozen. Follow the system properly, okay? Whenever you're playing with a dozen strategy, you need to follow the system. Whether you are chasing the winner or betting on the two dozens on the basis of last two winners, or if you follow this strategy, just stick to it. Okay, so you have a loss. So in this case, we are going to remain on that same dozen, and we don't increase our bet size just after a single loss in the first two steps. This time we will bet with $2. As I was saying, keep your composure, okay, while you play with a single dozen. It can be nerve-wracking sometimes, and I've felt it myself. Next bet will be $4. Let's see how further we need to take the progression. Okay, the next one is gonna be $6. Okay. Now, as I said, that either you can use the end of this progression as your stop loss, or you can have your own set of stop loss, whichever you prefer to use. Next one is gonna be of $9. As I said, you can face consecutive or continuous losses for few rounds, while you are playing with a single dozen. Next one is gonna be a 14. Okay, we have a win. Great. This was the maximum I came, this was the maximum I came while I was trying it out on demo. I even have few more steps after this step, in the progression, but I didn't need to use any of the steps while I was playing it on demo. But anyway, I'm going to write it down to you at the end of the video, the entire progression. So we are up by 13. As I said, that mostly you will find yourself with a new session high when you win in any step in the progression. So yeah, the next bet is gonna be on the second dozen, and we are gonna be back to our base bet with $1. And yeah, let's spin. You have a win. Great. It's always nice to find a win like this while you are playing with a single dozen. Now again, we're gonna bet on first dozen this time. Remember, we are betting on the dozen that didn't show up in the last two rounds. Okay. Okay, we have another win. We're up by 17 already. And we're going to bet on the third dozen this time. If you have numbers from the same dozen in the last 2 or 3 rounds, look for the round previous to that. Okay. Again, spin. We have another win. So you can see how this strategy works. We're up by 18 already. Let's see how soon can we get to 20. Another win will do it. Okay, so we are going to bet on the first dozen this time once again. Let's spin. I think we have a win. Yes, and we reach our target. Anyway, guys, this was the strategy. I'm going to write down the entire progression on the skin. But remember, this is only the half part of the progression, and I have intentionally kept it small because as you can see on the skin that it gets really aggressive later on. And if you choose to use it further, in the progression, then it gets sometimes really out of hands. So I don't want you to bust your entire bankroll behind one strategy like this. So that's why I kept it small. The progression, I have only shown the half of it. I mean, on the scale. As you know that I didn't even need to use the entire progression. And I have never needed to use the entire progression, at least the entire progression of this part, while I was even using it on demo. So anyway, let me know how it works for you. And if you want to make any modifications into the progression, let me know about it too. And if you have any strategies, if you'd like to share with me, write it on the comment section so that I can make a video on that too. And best of luck, guys. Thanks for supporting. Keep on watching. And I'm gonna see you on the next video.